We're here at Liberty University. It's the Equity for Africa Summit. Incredible speakers. We're talking about world leaders. We're talking about former acting defense secretary. We're talking about congressmen and women. We're talking about phenomenal people who understand that the continent of Africa is essential to the future of this world. There are so many resources there. There are tremendous people there, and there's the economic war there taking place between, really, socialism, communism, totalitarianism, and liberty. And we've met a lot of good people who want to see liberty enshrined on the continent of Africa. It's a great investment opportunity. It's a great opportunity for the entire world to do things right for once. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this tremendous event and garner some wisdom from these great speakers.
We always knew that if we got this business development right, if we could create the right ecosystem and do so in an atmosphere that allows all of the people of Africa to reap the benefits of that development through greater freedom, that America would be a better place too, and we would be a better steward of American resources if we did so. We understood centrally, and this point is well taken, what Mr. Bethel said. Every African, indeed every human, wants the same basic things. They want freedom, they want to be able to take care of their family, and they have all understand that there's very little that is more noble than the dignity that comes with a job, an opportunity to work and to deliver on behalf of their family, their community. And Africans that get the opportunity to do so are obviously better, and their nation more prosperous and secure. Greater development improves security for all of us. It is a collective set of security issues that are threatening not only Africa, but the northern part of Africa up and through the Middle East. And we've seen this for an awfully long time. Indeed, for too long, terrorist thugs have taken advantage of lesser developed countries and used them as safe havens and inflicted enormous harm and enormous destruction of prosperity. And so as we can increase economic growth and the capacity for businesses to provide wealth and prosperity and opportunity for people all throughout Africa, America will be a better place. I was talking with one of my now former ambassadors about America First. This is what we talked about in the Trump administration. And we did so knowing full well that leaders of every nation should take care of their nation first. And when we each did that, every nation would be better off, would be stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. I saw that in the cooperation between American companies that had sound value systems. I saw, too, that when they did that, they could counter a narrative in Africa that comes from the threat posed by the Chinese Communist Party. African countries should be wary of authoritarian regimes. We know the absence of religious freedom, the absence of dignity that comes from tyrannical regimes, and tyrannical regimes that intend to spread their tyranny all across the world. It cannot be the case, it should not be the case that African nations must be dependent on these totalitarian nations for their vital infrastructure. In that way, America needs to do more and to do better. And collectively, we all, whether it is those of us who had served in government, those of us in business, or national leaders from outside of the United States, we all can do better. You know, I've seen this so clearly. Communism, socialism have failed every place that they have been tried. Not only today, but throughout all of history. And where we see them expanding, they're failing Africa now too. I hope that African nations will all see that these failed experiments, these failed socialist experiments should be of the past, and we should move forward to a new future based on a set of basic principles that I think everyone in this room would agree on. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that when I'm speaking with Dave. You know, in America, we have a Judeo-Christian heritage. It's the values that have made our country so exceptional and continue to do so. And we need to make sure that when we travel the world, know that any country that is devoid of a values-based set, a set of principles, will end up in the trash heap of history like the Soviet Union did. And as all those who walk away from those values will ultimately end up. Look, you all know this. You all live this. You stood up for freedoms, so many of you. I've seen it. I've seen it in your eyes. I've seen it in the phone calls that you and your nation's leaders made to me. Simple freedoms like the ability to say the things that you believe, and simple freedoms like the capacity to worship in the way that you choose, and if you choose not to worship, so be it. I spent a lot of time in the State Department working on a particular problem set. It's worthy of mention here because the world can go this way. We saw what was happening in Western China. To a population that is 1.4 billion people with an ethnic minority that is being trampled on and worse. And it is a reminder. We all know the history of the world in the 1930s, and I'll bet nearly everyone in this room has repeated the phrase, never again, that we won't permit this to happen again. It's happening again. And we each have a responsibility. We in the business community, those of us who serve in government, faith leaders all across the world need to stand up and at the very least identify this genocide for precisely what it is.